I give the floor to the Russian Federation.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're grateful to Mr. Peterson, Special Envoy of the Secretary General, and to Madam Maberi Hussein for their briefings. In spite of the overall stabilization of the military and political situation, the situation remains tense in Syria. 60% of the population are exposed to the real threat of hunger. The socioeconomic and humanitarian situation in the country has deteriorated, first and foremost due to the illegal economic restrictions imposed by the West in contravention of the UN Security Council and in spite of the appeals of the Secretary General of the UN to ease the pressure of sanctions at the height of the pandemic. We consider this a continuing attempt to oust the legitimate authorities of the country through economic suffocation. Now, the areas not under the control of the Syrian government remain zones of instability. They are controlled by terrorists from Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. These are Idlib and the regions in the northeast. We are concerned about reports of continued clashes in the Euphrates region and in the north of Syria. The fact that the issue of restoring full sovereignty of the Syrian Arab Republic remains unresolved and the remaining security challenges related to that is being used by terrorists from ISIL. Now, no less a threat to the stability and security both inside Syria as well as in the region as a whole are the artificially concocted projects to divide the country along ethno-confessional lines. We also condemn the airstrikes conducted by Israel against Syrian territory. Their number has been increasing. This seriously complicates efforts to stabilize the situation in Syria and in the region as a whole. Now, we in the Russian Federation are convinced that the Syrian conflict does not have a military solution and can only be resolved exclusively through promoting a sustainable political process on the basis of Security Council Resolution 2254 with the support of the UN. It is essential to respect the sovereignty, independence, unity, and territorial integrity of the country. Now, on the political track, we support the efforts of Geir Pedersen. We believe it's important to convene a sixth session of the Constitutional Committee in Geneva. We call on all sides to constructively cooperate so that the intra-Syrian dialogue produces results. And now this process isn't going smoothly. However, it's important to support this process in every possible way. At the same time, it's very important that this process continue to be led and implemented by Syrians themselves without external interference and without the imposition of artificial timeframes and with the neutral mediation of the UN. We're also convinced that intra-Syrian dialogue should not become hostage to technical details. The Russian Federation will continue to encourage negotiations among Syrians, both in our national capacity and together with Turkey and Iran in the framework of the Astana format. In fact, we plan to convene another session in this format in the near future. Russia is making maximum effort to promote a peaceful solution in Syria. However, every aspect of these efforts is met with opposition. The chemical track, where through our common efforts we managed to achieve the elimination of the Syrian chemical arsenal in the hands of our partners, has degenerated into yet another element of pressure against Syria. We're also trying to ease the politicization of the Syrian humanitarian track and contribute to arranging a constructive cooperation between the UN and Damascus to provide humanitarian assistance to all Syrians while complying with the basic principles formulated in General Assembly Resolution 46/182. We note the efforts of the government of Syria to rebuild the country after the conflict and create normal conditions of life for the citizens of this country, including for refugees. However, the Syrian authorities do not have the capacity by themselves to take on the burden of post-conflict reconstruction. We need the united efforts of the international community aimed at restoring normal life by carrying out infrastructure projects on the initial reconstruction of the country. In this connection, we call in particular to support the initiative of the president of the ICRC, Peter Maurer, to restore basic infrastructure facilities in Syria. We support the view of the ICRC that an absence of decisions in this area threatens with the extension of the humanitarian disaster, not only within Syria itself, but into the neighboring countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.